Hi there, Louise with you of Timeless Craft Mama, and today I'd like to share a scrapbook layout process video created for Scrapbook Boutique, and I'm getting to play along with the Cocoa Vanilla Studio Endless Summer Collection. My last page I did was completely paper only, so no mixed media. Today I've got something that's really mixed media for you, and I am going to show you how I created this page. So what I've done is I've chosen a background paper and I've applied some clear gesso just to hold my mediums. I've also then gone through the paper collection and just cut some smaller parts to build my background cluster. So some of the sheets came from just the plain papers, some of them came from the Project Lifestyle paper, and you know, it's really a personal preference as to how you like to build your clusters. Some people like to have them really structured and neat, and some people like to just build that interest of paper behind the page. Now I have actually separated this cluster out because I'm going to split it with some cardboard in the background as well. So once that's all adhered, which I did off camera, I'm going to use this, which was part of the reject strip that you cut off the bottom of each of the sheets of paper. So don't forget to hang on to those because they are quite handy. You can sometimes use those on the layout. Now I found that I had to prop up the other side of the photo just to make it even on the page. Now I'm looking at this background paper and I'm kind of liking where it's going, but it's just not quite doing it for me. So I've decided to cut that out, back it on some white, and just leave that little strip in the middle. The next thing I'm going to do is take the dilution spray and the packaging technique and just apply some colour and some splatters. Now I actually did this also while that dilutions was still a little bit wet, and I'm going to take some whip spackle through a stencil and just apply that around the page as well. So that dilutions that you can already see on the page is still slightly wet because I wanted it to soak into that whip spackle a little bit, but I do then let it dry to the touch, add some more of that Calypso teal, water it down, and then spread that around the page just to help bring out those really detailed whipped spackle in that went through that stencil. So I'm going to dry that with my heat gun just to help set that colour in the position that it's in, and then I'm going to add some more splatter as well. Now the good thing about the splatter is that because there's still a little bit of moisture left in that whipped spackle where that dilution spray is, it still has a little bit of movement in those splatters. Now to help build this a little bit more with the colour, I've stuck my background cluster to the page. I've used double-sided tape and tacky glue just to help keep that really attached because I've used that clear gesso. Now I've then gone ahead with some Colour Blast paste, and you can see the link on the blog of what colour that is that I've used. I've spread that around just with a spatula to help fill in some of those gaps. And I'm really loving the way this is coming together with the background blue colour as well as that really sort of coral shade of the layout. Now while I was busy chatting away there to you, I have mixed some white gesso with some water, and I've simply just splattered that around the page to help break up that background just a fraction. It was just all looking a little bit blue, and I wanted to help it sort of just to lift off that page a little bit more. And yes, I did break my paintbrush halfway through, but I continued along. So that's just white gesso mixed with water to give it more fluid movement. You can splatter it a little bit easier. So now that I'm happy with the way the background is, I haven't actually stuck that photo down just yet because I'm going to play with the way I want some of these layers to look. And probably this was the hardest thing that I found because I had a picture in my mind of how I wanted this to look and I couldn't quite get it. So I'd picked the Life's a Beach Project Lifestyle card, and that was going to be the inspiration for the photo or the layout and the photo that I chose, but it really didn't end up working that well on the page once I started to add these tags and that banner there as well. So eventually that Life's a Beach does get left off the page, but I've still used stickers and various embellishments from the layout to create the final piece. So really what I'm doing now is I'm just having a little fiddle around, a little play. I'm going to start to use some adhesive and stick some elements down, stuff that I know where it's going to go and I'm happy with the way it's looking. So that's, you know, as I progress through creating a page, it's just how I work. I'll stick things down as I know that's where they're going to stay. Now, of course, you can pick up all of the elements that I've used for this particular layout from Scrapbook Boutique. And let me tell you, if you haven't got your hands on any of the Cocoa Vanilla Studio collections as yet, make sure that you get your hands on some, because they not only coordinate so well within the collections themselves, but the way the papers are created and the elements and the embellishments, they're all so well coordinated with each other. So like the flowers that I've used on this particular layout actually came from the Hello Lovely flower collection that also is by Cocoa Vanilla Studio. So you can always mix up the different collections from the one manufacturer, and they will always coordinate. Well, not always, but in this case, Cocoa Vanilla coordinates so well within its own collections. So whether you're using the stickers, the wood veneers, the ephemera, you know, it doesn't matter. It could be just straight up paper collections if you're a paper scrapper, but the versatility is, you know, so high that it doesn't matter how you put them together, they work so well. Now the last steps in creating this page are to just add a couple of those stickers around the layout. I've adhered everything on. I've used a couple of wood veneer pieces. I've got that tiny little cluster down in the bottom right hand corner. Not something I would have probably thought I'd add to this page, but I really like how it's turned out. It's kind of adds just that little bit of something extra to this particular layout. So once I'm finished adding those stickers and collectibles and wood veneers, I'm happy with the layout. It's all done. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Please, of course, subscribe and check out Scrapbook Boutique.